What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Darian, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. And of course I love looking good and smelling amazing. So if you are like me and you love to look good as well as smell great, then you come to the right channel. Why don't you go ahead and click on that subscribe button. And while you're at it, make sure you click the bell icon as well. That way you get notified every time I release a new video and you don't miss out on this great content. So guys, today we are going to kick off the week with my top 10 Monday. Of course, on this channel, as I said before, we're going to be moving into a little bit more regimented, scheduled content. That way you know what type of video is coming up on a given day. And on Mondays on this channel, it's going to be about the top 10 list. Sometimes it may be a top 5, but it will be some kind of top list. So I call it my top 10 Monday. And we're going to kick off the first My Top 10 Monday talking about my top 10 fragrances from the house of Parfums de Marly. So you know how we do. If you want to know what my top 10 are, keep it locked right here. All right guys, I'm back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's go ahead and jump right into the list. So the house of Parfums de Marly was inspired by the reign of King Louis XV. So 18th century France, this house was inspired. King Louis XV had an affinity for fragrances, for smelling good, but he also had an affinity for horses. Château of Marly, which is what it was called, there were sculptures of these horses that would participate in these horse races. And again, he just had this love and affinity for those different horses and sculptures. And so that's where the inspiration for this fragrance house derived. So like I said, we're going to talk about my top 10 fragrances from Parfums de Marly that I own in my collection. I'll say that the fragrance Sadly, which is one of their more recent releases, probably would have made this list, but I do not own it, as well as a castor. Now, a castor is a fragrance that features rose and oud, and you guys know how much I love rose, so I'm sure if I were to put my nose on a castor, that would have made it. Now, I have smelled Sadly before, I just don't have it in my collection, and I'm sure it would have rivaled my number 10 fragrance for the 10th spot on the list. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, the first offering that I want to talk about that comes in at the 10th spot is the fragrance GALLOWAY. If you can see that. Now GALLOWAY. Now I do really enjoy this fragrance. What I like about it is the fact that it's a nice citrus-based fragrance, but it is very spicy. When I smell a nice spicy citrus fragrance like this, it kind of does something different. It's a different take on a nice, fresh citrus fragrance that you would normally wear when it's warm outside. But I like this one because a lot of the offerings from Parfums de Marly are fragrances that you would probably typically wear in the colder months. But this is one that you can get away with wearing in the spring and summertime. I really like that. Again, it's a nice citrus, really spicy citrus fragrance that I really love. Has a nice musky, ambery dry down with a little bit of iris in this as well. So again, it does something different from your typical citrus fragrance, and that's what I really like about this one. It's something that I can wear, again, when it's hot outside and I want to dress up and really dress to impress. I can put this one on and I really like that. So at the 10th spot from Parfums de Marly, this one is GALLOWAY. All right, guys, in the 9th spot, we have a fragrance that comes in one of the clear bottles. You don't hear a lot of talk about these, but this one is DARLEY. DARLEY. Now, I really like this one, and I had a sample of it, and initially when I had the sample, I couldn't quite put my finger on what I liked about it so much. But once I got it and I really started to wear it, it became very clear. Anybody that's been following this channel for any amount of time knows how much I love Creed's Original Santal, and this fragrance smells a lot like Original Santal from Creed. It has some of the same notes. You have a nice aromatic lavender with notes like cinnamon and tonka bean, sandalwood, which is notes that you find in Creed's Original Santal. And I'm sure that's what really drew me to this fragrance. It's really fresh, so it has a fresh side to it, but it has a kind of spicy and kind of kind of slightly oriental, but sweet, dried down with the tonka bean and sandalwood and things of that nature. So that's why I really, really like this one. And that's why I made the list. The 9th spot, we have DARLEY. So guys, coming in at the 8th spot, we have my favorite bottle in the whole Parfums de Marly collection, and that is Cologne. Cologne. Anybody that knows me knows that I love the color of red. So this is a gorgeous bottle, but I actually like the fragrance as well. It opens up with a nice blood orange accord, and it's really, this one to me is really spicy and mossy. There is a very green, spicy undertone to this fragrance, and for some folks, it wasn't really received well, but me personally, I really, really enjoy wearing this one. It's a great fragrance to wear really year round. It's a very versatile scent. Again, I love the fragrance, love the bottle. Coming in at the 8th spot, we have Cologne. All right, guys, next up on the list at the number 7 spot, we have PERCIVAL. PERCIVAL. Now this fragrance, if you could say, of course, of all of the fragrances that I have here, this is the most versatile and easy to wear fragrance. Yes, it does resemble Fierce from Abercrombie & Fitch, and that was a fragrance that I used to love wearing back in the day. I kept the bottle of Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce in my collection, and this really reminds me of that. But of course, it has its own Parfums de Marly DNA and twist to it. So I really, really enjoy this one. Probably the most complimented fragrance from the house that I have in my collection. So easy to wear, love wearing this stuff, love the bottle. In the 7th spot, we have PERCIVAL. Coming at the 6th spot, this is one of the staples, one of the more iconic or well-known fragrances from the house of Parfums de Marly, and this one is PEGASUS. PEGASUS. Now, I talked about previously PERCIVAL being one of the most complimented. This is the fragrance from that collection that would rival PERCIVAL when you talk about compliments. So if compliments are what you're looking for, you probably want to grab PERCIVAL or either PEGASUS, the 2 P's, right? Because this one is a highly complimented fragrance as well. Love this one. Very creamy, almond, vanilla fragrance right here. So it's really, really kind of sweet. You get the floral undertones to it, but it's a great one, guys. Like I said, this is the one that is going to get people's attention right here. This one right here, nice, really creamy, vanilla, heliotrope, and almond combination of this is just perfect. And I really, really love and enjoy wearing this one. And that's why I made the list, of course. At the 6th spot, we have PEGASUS. Okay, guys, we have now moved into the top 5. And we're going to kick off the top 5 with one of the most underrated fragrances by far from the house of Parfums de Marly. We are talking about HABDAN. Man, I thoroughly enjoy this one right here, man. This is just one of those addictive fragrances. Like, you know, I could really just smell this one all day. It has a very, very interesting combination of notes. It reminds me a little bit, it's funny, it reminds me a little bit of Harrod and a little bit of Wajan. It has a beautiful, just succulent apple note in the opening with a nice caramel as well. This is absolutely delicious fragrance right here. So it reminds me of like a nice candy apple. You know, when you guys go to the fair and you get that nice candy apple, you can't wait to sink your teeth into it. That's really what I start to think about when I smell this fragrance. And guys, not to mention the fact that it has one of my favorite notes in it, rose as well. And you really start to get some of the rose after about 5 minutes into it. That combines with, again, just a nice succulent candy apple vibe that you get from this. Man, I love this stuff right here. It doesn't get enough talk, but again, that's cool because that means there's just more out there for me. So coming in at the 5th spot from the house of Parfums de Marly, of course, this one is HABDAN. All right, guys, the next on the list, coming in at the 4th spot. If you love gourmand fragrances, then you are going to love this next choice. This one is Wajan. Wajan. Now, I've talked a lot about this one before. I did a list about gourmand fragrances, my top gourmand fragrances, and this one definitely made that list. And this one you have notes like vanilla, honey, cinnamon, tonka bean. Again, when I talk about this fragrance, the best way to describe it to you guys is it smells like a warm, freshly baked apple pie. Really the best way for me to describe this one, and really give you an idea of what this smells like if you never put your nose on it, but this is a great one, man. I'm telling you right now, I love the way this one smells. And so that's why I made the list, of course, coming at the 4th spot. This one is Wajan. Okay, guys, we're into the top 3 right now, and coming in at the 3rd spot on this list, probably the most recognizable fragrance of the brand, we are talking about Harrod. Harrod, I love this one right here as well, guys. If you love a nice tobacco scent, then you are going to love Harrod. What I get most out of this one, of course, is a nice cinnamon, tobacco, and incense vibe. And again, guys, when it gets cold outside, this is one of the fragrances in my collection that I look forward to wearing the most. A good tobacco fragrance, man, in my humble opinion, you can't beat that when it's cold outside. But I really, really like the way that this fragrance, again, plays off the whole tobacco cinnamon thing. And there are a lot of fragrances out there that use that combination of tobacco and cinnamon and that whole kind of vibe, but the incense, and then on the base here, there's a freshness that kind of comes through from ISO-E Super that's used in this fragrance. And again, so when you talk about tobacco-based fragrances, to me, this is one of the best to ever do it from the House of Parfums de Marly. Of course, in the 3rd spot, we're talking about Harrod. All right, guys, coming in at the number 2 spot on this list, this is a yummy, delicious fragrance right here. We're talking about Carlyle. Carlyle. And what I love about Carlyle, I know you guys have heard this before, it took some of the elements of the aforementioned Harrod, took some of the elements of Layton, and kind of put them into one bottle. And that's what I love so much about this. You get the best of both worlds, in my humble opinion. Just notes of patchouli, guaiac wood, and cardamom. Again, absolutely delicious fragrance. I would definitely say it leans, kind of creeps into that gourmand category. So again, I love the fall and winter time because I get to go to some of my favorite fragrances from the House of Parfums de Marly. This house gets a lot of play in my rotation during the colder months, and for good reason. So coming at the number 2 spot here, we have none other than Carlyle. Okay, guys, and last but not least, I know you probably have guessed what this is by now because you have not seen it yet on the list. My favorite Parfums de Marly fragrance is none other than Layton. Layton, Layton, Layton. Now, some people in the fragrance community refer to this fragrance when it came out as a designer-like fragrance. It doesn't come across on my skin as a designer-like fragrance, so I would have to disagree with that particular statement. But I will tell you this, it is my favorite Parfums de Marly fragrance, and I love this stuff. It has a nice, kind of succulent, fresh opening that you get from that apple, but it has a nice dry down, man. I really like the dry down on this thing too. A lot of these fragrances start to really lean into that that kind of gourmand category, and that's a lot of times because just like a lot of the other fragrances that I mentioned, they use vanilla in this one as well, but you got a nice kind of spicy kick from a nice cardamom in here, and I just love this stuff, guys. We talk about, again, the top 3 complimented fragrances. This would definitely be in the top 3 along with Pegasus and Percival because it's just good, guys. It's easy to wear. It can be a signature scent worthy. You can wear it anytime, any place, anywhere, and that's a good thing. So combined with the fact that it smells great and it performs great on my skin as well, hey man, it had to make the number 1 spot, right? So the number 1 spot goes to none other than the highly talked about Layton. All right, guys, that's my time. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this video on my top 10 favorite fragrances from the House of Parfums de Marly. I know you guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're right here with me, taking the time out of your schedules to watch this video, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take the time to like, comment, and subscribe, and share these videos out to some other folks that you think could use this information, or of course find me entertaining, because I am your guy, Darren, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.